Distinguished guests, colleagues, students, parents and friends, I'm delighted to welcome you to this year's virtual Clinical Commencement White Coat Ceremony. My name is Professor Michael Keane. I'm the Dean of Medicine and Head of the UCD School of Medicine. You're all most welcome as we gather virtually to congratulate our Stage 4 Medicine and Stage 2 Graduate Entry Medicine students on their achievements so far and wish them well on the commencement of their clinical training. This ceremony is traditionally held in person on the UCD campus and is regarded as a highlight in the school's events calendar. We hope to bring as much of the celebratory atmosphere usually experienced at the physical event to today's virtual celebration. I'm delighted to welcome Professor Fergus Shanahan, Emeritus Professor of Medicine in University College Cork and a UCD graduate as our guest speaker. We will also have messages from some of the students marking the commencement of their clinical training today. You're commencing your clinical training at a significant point in history when the medical profession is at the forefront of society. The next phase of your education will bring with it many challenges and great responsibility, but the determination and focus that you have applied to your training thus far will serve you well in the years ahead. The next chapter of your medical education is symbolised today by the donning of the white coat. You are entering an environment where you will begin to be seen not as a student, but rather a doctor in training. The white coat signifies a new level of responsibility in learning how to care for patients within a clinical setting. These responsibilities are articulated in the Physician's Pledge, which I invite our students to join me now in reciting. As a member of the medical profession, I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of humanity. The health and well-being of my patient will be my first consideration. I will respect the autonomy and dignity of my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. I will not permit considerations of age, disease or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing or any other factor to intervene between my duty and my patient. I will respect the secrets that are confided in me even after the patient has died. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity and in accordance with good medical practice.
I will
foster the honour and noble traditions of the medical profession. I will give to my teachers, colleagues and students the respect and gratitude that is their due. I will share my medical knowledge for the benefit of the patient and the advancement of healthcare. I will attend to my own health, well-being and abilities in order to provide care of the highest standard. I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, even under threat. I make these promises solemnly, freely and upon my honour.
Hello, I'm Fergus Shanahan and I'm pleased to be speaking to you, unfortunately by video recording because of COVID restrictions, but I'm happy to be included in this ceremony and back at UCD, University College Dublin, because this is where my career began. And I recall vividly this period of transition from the medical sciences to the clinical sciences when I was a medical student. And it still has an impact on my career today, and I have fond memories of it. But it wasn't always easy. Initially, when I made that transition, I found it called for different skill sets to what I was used to. Initially, when we went to the hospitals, it appeared that everything was unstructured, unpredictable, somewhat uncertain and very fast-paced, even almost chaotic. And the clinical arena seemed to be full of ambiguity and paradox. Chaotic even. And for all of that, I was later to realise it was wonderful. And it will be for you also. But initially, I wasn't sure what was expected of me. I would come home each day and my father would ask me, "What did you learn today at the hospital? Was it interesting?" And I'd grunt and say, "I didn't learn very much." We hung around all day long, and then we had one or two tutorials, or someone didn't show up, and that was about it, and we came home. And this went on for some time, and he would always ask me what had I learned that day. And my answer was always the same, until one day he said, "But you are learning something. You are learning how to speak to people." And that, of course, encapsulated the whole point of the exercise. You will do well if you learn how to speak to people. And don't think of that as being a low bar, because that will call into play another underappreciated clinical skill, namely listening. And too many medical students and even senior doctors neglect the importance of how to speak to people and how to listen to them, because that's the essence of the doctor-patient relationship. Because medicine is not about doing extraordinary things. Good doctors are not doctors who do extraordinary things. Good doctors are people who do ordinary things extraordinarily well. And as a colleague of mine once said, doctors can be formulated in the following way. A doctor equals science plus emotion plus passion. A doctor equals science plus emotion plus passion. You need science as a way of thinking, and doctors who stray too far from science don't serve their patients well. Science will give you the necessary facts to move on into the clinical arena, but science is not enough. Science will tell you about diseases, which is the objective evidence that something's wrong with a patient. But you're now moving into an arena where you need to know about illness, because that's what concerns people. And illness is the lived experience of disease. And for that, you'll need more than science. You will need to pay attention to people's stories. So doctor equals science, and you will bring science with you. You will not be leaving it behind you. You will always bring it with you. Science plus emotion and passion. They will give you the kindness and compassion that your patients will need from you. And I would add one other thing to that formula: curiosity. You need to be curious about your patients, because you will be called to care for patients. And the only way you can care for patients effectively is to care about them. And the only way you can care about them is if you understand them or are interested and curious about them. And you need to feed your curiosity, and that comes with practice. You need to spend time with your patients, listening to them, because the history is always informative. And they are marvelously curious things, humans, patients. So spend time listening to them, and then you will be able to care for them and encourage your interest in the ordinary. And then you'll do ordinary things extraordinarily well. The good news is that you're now in control. It's not about listening to lectures anymore. It's about you taking control now of your learning and spending time with patients. And do remember to listen to them. Learn, of course, how to do the physical exam, but don't forget to learn how to present their stories, how to synthesize their stories and present them back, because you will be called on later to be able to refer patients, to write letters about patients, to get your patient through the system. And for that, you'll need to understand their stories and be able to synthesize them and present them back. So learn about presenting skills to your friends and colleagues and to your seniors. Good luck to all of you. Enjoy your time with the patients. And I'm sure if you enjoy it half as much as I enjoyed my time during my career, then your patients will benefit. Good luck to you.
To family, faculty, friends, and fellow classmates, we're so grateful that we get to say a few words for our white coat ceremony. I know we were all hoping that we'd be able to do this in O'Reilly Hall, but COVID's still around, so virtual white coat ceremony it is. We're so grateful for all of the hard work that was put into making today possible in these unprecedented times. We'd like to express our appreciation on behalf of our class to the UCD School of Medicine staff, lecturers, and tutors.
We would like to say a big thank you to our families and personal supporters. Without your support, we would definitely not be here at all. We know that this is a difficult time for us to enter clinical years, but we got through the last couple of semesters. So how tough can clinical years possibly be?
We're definitely going to miss our preclinical times at Belfield and our amazing lecturers and tutors who guided us along the way. We want to thank a few of our amazing lecturers, Dr. Kahalo Bryn, Professor James Jones, Dr. Melinda Hallis, Dr. Mark Pickering, Dr. Tom Flanagan, Dr. Peter Holloway, Dr. Paul Crossy, and to name but a few.
And a major shout out to Dr. Chan. Without you, we would have struggled through POI, respiratory disease, and basically the whole last semester. Your tutorials and review session will forever be remembered, so thank you.
We're so grateful for the people we've met and the friendships we've made. These past few years have definitely taught us a lot about ourselves and what we're capable of. I think we can all agree that we remember the zoology lectures, especially that first one, and the silent battles of trying to get a spot at Health Sciences Library, and don't get me started on eyeing the boots at Pulse until someone else leaves. And this memory that will forever stay in my brain, the main invigilator at RDS and his "papers please" and "time's up, pencils down." And obviously this last and final one, the dissection labs, especially that interesting neuro one where we get to simulate a lumbar puncture, and let's just say a lot of us missed the target.
Now, medical school wouldn't be medical school without challenges, but without them, we wouldn't be where we are now and as strong as we are now. I'm sure we all had our own challenges, but we can all agree that the neuro exam was somewhere up there. We are looking forward to finally putting our knowledge into practice and developing skills that will help us succeed as clinicians. We know it won't be easy, but with UCD's support and guidance and going through it as a class, we'll get through it.
So good luck to all of us in our next chapter of medical school. We're all in this together.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily and I am one of the Gem 3 students here at UCD. A little while ago, I was asked by the school to give you some words of advice as you receive your white coats and get ready for this next chapter in school. To be honest, I am still figuring it out just like everybody else, but I do think that there are some things that are really important to hear. First of all, I just want to give you a huge congratulations on receiving your white coats. You've probably heard this 1,000 times tonight, but it really is such an amazing accomplishment to be where you are right now. Medical school is difficult. This pandemic has been really difficult, and studying medicine in the middle of a pandemic is almost an unthinkable task, but you're all here because you've persevered through. And I don't think that you get enough credit for the amount of effort that it takes to continue to study for this degree when everything else in your life has been changed around, and that's something to really celebrate today. I also think that whenever people talk about the white coat, they always talk about the future and what it represents for your future career, the role that you're about to step into on clinical sites, and the excitement of how much of an impact that you're about to have. And this is all very, very true, but I want you to, just for a moment, turn around and look at how far you've come. Every challenge you faced, every stressful exam season, every time you did something in medicine that made you really nervous, every time you took yourself to Belfield in the middle of a rainstorm, it's all brought you to this. And I think that is something that you should be unbelievably proud of. As medical students, I think we're always looking over the next hurdle and we don't stop to give ourselves the credit that we deserve. So next year, when things are busy and stressful and you feel like you have no idea what you're doing, I really hope that you can see this coat as a symbol of everything that you've accomplished to get you to where you are today, and also of the resilience that you've proven that you have that will get you where you want to go. So congratulations again, and I really cannot wait to see you all on the wards next year.
behalf of all the faculty and staff, I congratulate you all on the commencement of your clinical training. We wish you all the best in the next stage of your journey.